Well, once again, time to go team to team, presented by Cigna, proud partner of the Arizona Cardinals. And this week's, it's the Washington football team, and we're joined by Julie Donaldson, Senior VP of Media and Content. And this is actually a good matchup because we got two 1-0 teams. I don't know if anyone expected that. But before we look ahead to Sunday, we have to look back. Down 17 to the Philadelphia Eagles. You score 27 unanswered points. What flipped?
It was all on defense. The guys were talking. It was a bit of a slow start. Without the preseason, we never really knew what to expect, I think, from any team coming out there, but this team especially, because we have an entirely new coaching staff, pretty much minus two coaches that came over that were assistants last season. A lot of really young guys. This team is very young. We don't really have a lot of experience of playing in the NFL, so we didn't know what it was going to take. And they off to a really slow start. Those guys got together and said, somebody has to make a play. Fabian Moreau was that guy as he got the interception. And with that, it put him in good field position. And Dwayne Haskins seemed to lock in because he wasn't connecting before that. But on that drive, he went 4 for 4, 45 yards and a touchdown pass to Logan Thomas. And that was basically where the game turned.
Well, you talk about the defense, and I want to focus on that because Washington certainly has the attention of head coach Cliff Kingsbury and the rest of the Cardinals. Back-to-back weeks now facing a good defensive front. Once again, 5 former first-round draft picks, but 8 sacks, including 2 by Ryan Kerrigan, who was just named NFC Defensive Player of the Week. My guess is that is where this game is going to be decided, right there between the offensive line of the Cardinals and the defensive line of Washington.
Well, yeah, and Carson Wentz is a very mobile quarterback. He has the ability to extend plays, and he has been so good against this team in the last 5 times, minus this game. He's been perfect. He's at a passer rating of 111. He barely throws an interception, but if you pressured him, we knew he would fumble the ball. They had their way with him with 8 sacks, and in all honesty, they probably left quite a few out there on the field as well. That is how good this defensive front is for the Washington football team. Now, Kyler Murray presents an entirely different challenge on a whole new level. So if we want to see just how real they are, I think everybody's really excited to see if they can get at your guy who has the ability to be a track star out there.
Chase Young, let's talk about him for a minute as advertised, but how much of a surprise given that there was, for rookies, no offseason and no preseason?
Yeah, but, he comes from Ohio State. The caliber of players he was going up against are probably all in the league right now. So he was used to the pressure. He's used to getting double teamed. And he comes in, every player that I have asked and every coach that I have asked throughout camp and throughout the practices, I said, is Chase Young as good as advertised? Like, are we hyping this up at all potentially too much? Like, are we getting too excited, too far ahead of ourselves? Every single one has said, no, he's better than advertised. And I even asked him, I said, people are already putting you in the Hall of Fame. He's like, yeah, I hear it, but I haven't done anything. He knows he has to go out there and put in the work, and he is the epitome of a football player. He looks like the prototype. His mentality is just go out there and play. And he's making everybody on this team better. You're seeing that because he draws so much attention. Montez Sweat, in his own right, a first rounder, gives him an opportunity. It challenges him. The interior lineman, who do you focus on? That's going to be the challenge for you guys come Sunday.
Well, you look at what that defense was able to do to set up the offense. I mean, the 3 touchdown drives, 45, 20, and 48 yards. So offensively, the numbers don't look good. But Dwayne Haskins, I'm guessing, especially in that second half, as you alluded to earlier, really stepping up in his second year.
Look, he's still young. Last season, being a rookie, just kind of thrown into the fire is kind of like an afterthought with the whole system because we had Case Keenum and Colt McCoy, and it was like, trying to get those guys ready and being able to get in the game. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, we don't have them. We got to throw Dwayne out there. So he was feeling his own way last season, and the offensive system was a very challenging one. People used to joke that Jay Gruden's, to call a play, it takes like a whole 30 seconds and it's like a million words reading across the screen. Well, this offense is much easier. It's a number system that Scott Turner's putting in, and they're giving him edible bites to be able to get him into it and get comfortable with it. He was anxious to start the game, as I think everybody was. I mean, even we were going into it. We didn't have a preseason, but once he calms down, he connects and he keeps his poise and he stands up tall and he commands the huddle. So maybe it'll be a little bit of the same in this one. Maybe it'll be a little bit jitters your first road game, plus going up against Kyler Murray that won the Heisman, which of course I'm sure Dwayne thinks that he could have had. So we'll see how long it takes him to calm down. But he doesn't have a lot of time with a lot of these receivers either. They're very young. So chemistry takes a little bit to build.
Well, he is familiar with Terry McLaurin, the Ohio State teammate. So how much of that chemistry, perhaps maybe what Washington hopes becomes Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, if you want to talk about who he's going to rely upon, he had 10 touchdown passes with Terry McLaurin when he was at Ohio State. He's already going to be his favorite target. McLaurin was the one player on the field that never rotated out of the ones because they always had Dwayne Haskins out there during practice to make sure he was ready, and Terry because we knew he was going to be his favorite target. Outside of that, they did a lot of rotation to kind of see who would step up and who would fit in the best way. You do again have a lot of, our second-year players are the vets on the team basically here. So, he's going to rely on Terry. He's going to look for Terry. But here's the thing. Terry's not scared of anything. He really isn't. He didn't shy away from Darius Slay, and I don't imagine he's going to shy away in this game either.
So an experienced defense, a little bit inexperienced offense, but you've got a head coach, and we've got to touch on Ron Rivera before we let you go here, Julie. Just not only what he has had to deal with as a first-year head coach with Washington, all the off-field distractions, and now all of a sudden battling cancer. How has he and the rest of the team kind of dealt with all of this and getting off to a good start at the same time?
It's hard to watch coach go through this. The first day that he went to chemotherapy, he basically spent all day there. He missed practice. He's missed a few practices. He's been late to others because 5 days a week, he has to be able to do that. 7 weeks this will go on. It's taken a toll on him. I mean, he even said, he's getting that IV at halftime during their game against the Eagles, in which Dwayne Haskins Jr. stepped up and addressed the team, talking about the advancement and development of him as a leader on this team. But, it's taking its toll. He said, to be honest with you, he was tired. Coach was really worn down because this is just physically draining on him. And of course, during COVID, everybody has to be really extra precautious. We have the tier system, right? Tier 1 for the players and the coaches, tier 2, and then we're tier 3 for the media part. They said we're putting him in tier 0. So we're having to be really careful with him, and everybody really does. But the team understands that. They're rallying behind him. He has a great support system. Here he has Jack Del Rio, former head coach for 9 seasons, on his staff. So should for some reason he has to step away, it's in very capable hands of somebody who understands what that job demands. So it's hard to watch him go through it, but he is one of the steadiest, strongest men that I've ever even really come across. And the way that he leads this team is, even through all of this, is with the same message and is with the same strength. And so for any players that want to complain, they can just look at their coach and be like, all right, guys, we have to step up for coach.
Yeah, certainly one of the most respected coaches in all of the NFL, and now leading a 1-0 Washington football team. Julie, we appreciate you joining us here on Team to Team. I'd say best of luck this week, but best of luck post this week here in 2020.
Appreciate that. Same to you.